So welcome back. I believe this is now the 9th session. Is that right, Uddhava? Do you know? It's number 9. We started 10 weeks ago, because last week Radhanath Swami spoke. I don't know if you saw that, but that was wonderful. I think what he spoke about relates to what we're talking about. We were talking about forgiveness as a nurturing or purification of the heart, and what's required. Not just forgiveness, but compassion, sympathy, empathy, humility. And Maharaj spoke so nicely about that last week. And what I thought we should do, because now this is the actual 9th session, I thought it would be good to review a couple of the key points, a couple of the points which are really foundational to the process of forgiveness. And these points are important because for some of you, you may still not have fully wrestled, defeated these points. So I want to go back to the original point. We've discussed this on 2 shows already, perhaps even 3, which is the idea or the belief that I can't forgive. And usually that belief, or that I can't, develops when we've been hurt severely. We're extremely upset, extremely angered, or as they say, it's easier to forgive somebody you don't know, but if it's a close friend or relative, then it's harder. So if we've been hurt by someone who's close, it can be very difficult to forgive, and then we come to this point of, I can't. Or if a person acted so much out of the normal, of what you expected, like if it was a parent or a respected spiritual teacher or spiritual master, and they acted so much out of character, perhaps like an ordinary person or worse than an ordinary person, that can be difficult to deal with. So I want to tell a story, and I think many of you may have heard this story. I'm not exactly sure where it comes from, if this was an experiment or this is the way they actually capture monkeys. But anyway, they put some food in a cage, something that a monkey likes. And the monkey can easily put his hand in the cage and get it. There's a little hole in the cage, or a little tunnel, or gate. But the gate isn't big enough for him to pull his hand out when it's clenched while he's holding on to whatever it is. Let's say it's a banana. So he can get his hand in like this. Then he closes his hand, but now the hole is, see, it went through like this, but when he closes his hand, he can't get it out. So he's sitting there holding on to his banana, but he can't get it out of the cage, and he won't let his hand go. Won't drop the banana. So in this case, we can say the banana is our resentment. And then we're holding on to it, and now we can't get free from it. And now we're stuck with the consequences of the resentment, and we spoke much about the consequences, particularly the problems it really causes for us. The unhappiness, the misery, the bitterness, whatever we're experiencing because of it. And then we can't let it go. So we're holding the banana and we say, monkey, just let your hands, just let the banana drop, then you can pull your hand out. No, I can't. He doesn't think he can. So he doesn't get his hand out. I think maybe that's how they capture monkeys. So perhaps we can say that's how Maya captures us. We don't want to let go. There's a story, I don't remember if I told this story. I think I told it last time. The Guru was teaching his disciple, and he was hugging a tree, and he was yelling at the tree, let me go, let me go, let me go. So that was another example of I can't. And I wanted to read something. It's really, really nice. I don't even know where I found this, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is that I can find it now. I have so many papers here, and I found something that I think you'll like, that Let me see. Please excuse me for being so unprepared. It was a rough day today. Very busy. You're lucky I'm even here. So you'll have to forgive me. And I think I gave this example last time, which was, you have some cards. Did I give this example? Anyone remember? Anyone out there? I can't even remember what I said last time. You know the nature of spiritual knowledge. Lord Chaitanya had taken one verse called the Atmarama verse, and he had explained it 64 different ways. And each way was a unique explanation. So later on, he was again asked to explain the Atmarama verse. He said, I can't remember what I said. I don't remember anything. He explained it 64 different ways, and now he said, I can't remember. So it's okay if we can't remember, and it's okay if I can't remember. Even Lord Chaitanya couldn't remember. And then he went and explained it 64 different ways. So, okay. I can't find the quote. So, what I'm going to do is explain it to you, and basically, and I think I explained this before, basically this person was saying that on one side you have forgiveness, the other side, on one side you have your resentment, the other side you have forgiveness. So then he's saying, well, just look at your options. You can either be bitter or you can be forgiving. You're going to either be angry or you can be forgiving. You can either be right or you can be forgiving. And so when you look at it that way, it makes it a little, I think it makes it a little more clear what's actually happening. We're holding on to something which has actually no benefit for us. It's no benefit for anyone. And we're exchanging it for something that has tremendous benefit for us. Forgiveness has tremendous benefit for us. It has tremendous benefit for the world, for other people. But the bitterness, the need to be right, the anger, the resentment, it has no benefit for us. So it's nice to look at it as a choice between the two. Either you can get this, or you get that. You get resentment, or you get bitterness. And we all know, when we're resentful, we tend to be bitter. Isn't that true? Samsara 78, when you're resentful, you become bitter, and you have bad thoughts about that person, and it's not a pleasurable experience. And to really, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, in that song Jib Jago, he's saying, or was it Udila? I don't know. He's saying, you've been sleeping on the lap of the witch called Maya. So you don't want to sleep on the lap of witch. And I was thinking on the way over here, I was thinking, well, we have this resentment and it really hurts us. And anyone who has it will say, yeah, I'd like to give it up. We don't feel good about it. It's not something we like to carry around. I really, when let's say at night you took off your resentment necklace and you put it on your counter. And would you look forward in the morning to picking it up and wearing it? You dropped all the bitterness, all the resentment. You go, I can't wait till tomorrow morning where I can pick up all that resentment and put it on. No. It's got stuck there. And we wish we could drop it, let it go. It isn't something that we really would look forward to carrying around with us. So it's really a paradox that we are holding on to something that causes us so much pain. And so then I was thinking, the lap of the witch called Maya. It's like, why would you want to lay on the lap of a witch? It doesn't make sense. The Prabhupada said, you lay on the lap and then the person cuts your head off. So the workings of the material energy, they work when we're in the modes of nature. It works against our self-interest, and then we do things which are against our self-interest. And then we look at ourselves and say, why am I doing this? I'm a fool. I'm stupid. whatever we want to call ourselves. We could probably call ourselves all kinds of horrible things, which they may all be true, but not very encouraging to call yourself all these things. But for the sake of discussion, at least we understand, or we experience, that when we're holding on to something that isn't good for us, and we're holding on to something that causes us pain, there's obviously a feeling of helplessness or powerless, that I can't let it go. So now I want to tell another story, because this is another topic that we've come up a lot, which is, we'll just let it go, just drop it, and that's what we're trying to do, let it go, and then we go back to the I can't. So this man is walking in the dark on the edge of a mountain. He can't see a thing. He slips up the side of the mountain. He goes down and he grabs onto a branch, holds onto the branch for dear life, and he screams out, "Help me!" And he hears a voice, and the voice says, "Let go of the branch, let go of the branch." He didn't want to hear that. "Somebody help me, somebody help me. Let go of the branch, let go of the branch." He won't let go. Can't surrender. He thinks, if I let go, I don't see anybody who's going to catch me. So anyway, he's holding on to the branch. There's no one to help him. He's holding on for so long. At a certain point, he's too weak to hold on. He can't hold on any longer. His fingers slip and he falls. 1 foot. The ground was 1 foot below him. What do you think of that, Samsara 78? That represents surrender. We are afraid to let go. We're afraid to surrender, and the ground is 1 foot below us. Okay, it's time. We've talked about surrender before, but I want to attack it from a different point of view. Samsara says, I heard a different story, but it was a raccoon. Yeah, okay, could be a raccoon. If it was a raccoon, then it was a nut. If it was a monkey, it was a banana. I thought they actually did experiments. Psychologists would do experiments like this. I don't know. Anyway, it actually happened. So, okay. Surrender. Now, we are talking about surrendering our resentment, giving it up. And generally, when we speak of surrender, we think of surrendering something positive, like something we can give to Krishna. We don't think of surrendering something we can't give to Krishna, like resentment. I don't want to offer Krishna my resentment. Well, in a sense, you're not offering Krishna resentment, you're actually offering Krishna forgiveness, or you're acting as a forgiving person. But I like the example of surrender as giving up something negative, because what is surrender? I just mentioned before, we're talking about this point we come to when we want to do something, but we can't do it, when we feel powerless to do it. I don't know how to do it, I don't have the power. But it's something we want to do, so we're stuck between what's the saying? We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, Srila Prabhupada wrote me a letter, I think I mentioned to you before. Hare Krishna, Madan Mohan. Finally, we're in touch. We've been trying to get in touch by telephone, but it's not working. So, Srila Prabhupada, Madan Mohan, we're talking about surrender. And in the Hare Krishna movement, sometimes the word surrender doesn't always have a positive connotation to it. A lot of times when we use the word or speak the word surrender, fear shakes in our heart. Oh no, surrender, I have to give up things. I can't do it, I don't want to do it. I don't want to surrender. What we're talking about here is like you have a toothache and it's killing you, and so you're going to have to surrender your tooth. And when you surrender your tooth, you'll surrender your toothache. So it's something like that. Jayadvaita Swami When he's asked, what do we have to give up to become Krishna conscious, he's fond of saying, you just have to give up your suffering. Or you don't have to give up anything but your suffering. So if we look at surrender that way, in the context in which we're discussing tonight, we look at surrender as giving up. We're giving up what? Our suffering. We're giving up our misery. We're letting go of the thing which is causing us pain. That's what we mean by surrender. Now, this thing is causing me pain. Somehow or other, I don't have the power to give it up. I don't know. Okay? You don't have the power to give it up. That's good that you don't have the power to give it up. At least it's good you realize that. If you study the writings of the Acharyas, they say the same thing. Krishna, I can't do this. I have no power on my own. They denigrate themselves, and you look at that and think, these are advanced devotees. Why are they denigrating themselves to such a degree? Because they have full realization that whatever they're able to do, and what they're able to do is a lot, is because Krishna is helping them do it. Otherwise, on their own, they can't do it. That's their realization. They truly understand it. They truly believe it. They have total faith in that. And they realize that. So if we feel, I can't give up our resentment, I'm powerless, that's actually a good place to start. Or actually, that is the place we should start. But how do we take that? We take that to the other side. But Krishna can do it. I can't do it, but Krishna can do it. And that's where surrender comes in. So by surrender, I'm surrendering, fighting the battle with my own strength, and allowing Krishna to do it through me. So I want to tell you about this letter that Prabhupada wrote me. Perhaps I've told you before, but I think after 10 classes, if you can't remember everything I said, what statistically they say you'll remember 8% or maybe 30% at the most if you haven't taken notes. So I think it's okay to repeat this. And we'll read what Madan Mohan has to say because it relates to this. Before I tell my story, stay tuned. We're going to take a break and read what Madan Mohan has said. I feel so helpless. I have been getting so angry lately and had fights with at least 3 people. I feel ashamed because I listen to the Gita but cannot practice what it preaches. I hate it. I pray Krishna helps me. Okay. So, the first thing Madan Mohan said is I feel helpless. So that's the platform. That's the platform we all need to confront, is our helplessness. And we look, like Madan Mohan's looking here, that he's got angry at 3 people. Sounds like, Madan Mohan, you might need to take a little vacation or something. Chant a few extra rounds. Because sometimes when we get angry, it's just sometimes we ourselves are overburdened or overworked. But Madan Mohan's saying, I know I shouldn't act that way. I'm a devotee. And devotees should not act in that way. So, what do? I'm doing it. I know I'm not supposed to do it. It's like Arjuna says to Krishna, why does somebody do something as if against his own will? It's like I'm possessed. I am possessed by a will, by a power that causes me to sin or causes me to whatever I'm doing that I don't want to do. I mean, what a condition of life. That's like, they talk about the hellish planets. I mean, that is hell in itself. It's like we're being controlled. So, we all have that experience to one degree or another. So, if we come to the point of saying, Krishna, I'm helpless, that's perfect. If through this experience, Madan Mohan, you actually have that realization, Krishna, I'm helpless, then you can take the next step. And before we take the next step, I am going to tell a story. So, I was early on in my career as a devotee of Krishna, I was put in charge of a temple in Vancouver, Canada, at the ripe old age of 20. So, I soon found out that I had quite a distaste for management and quite a strong taste for teaching Krishna consciousness. And the more I managed, the more I wanted to teach and help other people become Krishna conscious. And the more I taught, the more I didn't want to manage. So it became quite a dilemma, and I presented that dilemma to Prabhupada, and I said, I cannot even think of Krishna. It's so difficult to think of Krishna when I'm managing. It's just a million things going on around me simultaneously, and when I'm talking about Krishna, I can think of him. When I'm on the road traveling, it's very easy to chant, but when I'm in the temple dealing with all the nitty-gritty little details, I just don't think of Krishna. So one of the things that Prabhupada told me in how to remember Krishna, which relates to what we're talking about today, although he wasn't applying it directly in the way we are, but the principle still remains the same. He said, you should think you have no qualification to run the temple. So, and you might think, that's not a nice thing to tell somebody. Uddhava, you have no qualification to produce this program. It's like saying, Uddhava, you're totally useless, you have no brain, you're a fool, you're an idiot, you have absolutely no qualification. I look at you, nothing you've done in the past gives you any qualification to do this. Okay, so of course I didn't take it that way. I say, what does Prabhupada mean? You have no you should think you have no qualification. Well, he went on. In the next sentence he said, so you should pray to Krishna, or you should depend on Krishna and pray in this way that Krishna, unless you give me the qualification, everyone in the temple will leave. Of course it was true. I had, what was my qualification for running a temple? Well, I had my BA from Harvard, and I was working on my master's in business administration and management. No. I studied music in college, I studied philosophy, English, how to get intoxicated, how to have illicit sex, how to go to bed late, get up late, how to party. That's what I studied in college. So I actually did not have any qualification. I'd taken no management courses whatsoever. So, in a sense, in my case, it was 100% true. In any case, so Prabhupada went on to say, a devotee, when he said you should think, really we could say a devotee thinks that I have no qualification, so Krishna, please, you must give me qualification, otherwise the whole project's going to fail. So I thought of that when I was thinking about this point where where we come to an impasse and we just say, I can't do it. So first, Madan Mohan says, I'm helpless. So from that point, so you can say, I have no qualification to overcome this anger. I have no qualification, whatever it is I need to do. I want to practice. Let's say I want to practice the principles of Gita, and I'm not. I'm not doing what it says. I'm not walking the talk. So first thing is, I can't do it on my own. I'm helpless. I have no qualification. So what? So how am I going to do it? Krishna, you must give me the qualification, otherwise I can't do it. That's the proper attitude. So how do we come to that, or how do we transition into that attitude? We transition into that attitude when we give up. It's like Draupadi gave up. She tried to do it on her own. She couldn't hold on to her sari. They were pulling her sari. All these huge, these guys were big. They were probably 7 feet tall and 250, 300 pounds, and huge. These guys are these are real kshatriyas. They're not just some farm boy in Iowa who joins the Marines or something. It's like the real kshatriyas, and they're pulling her. Sorry, these are the guys that went out and fought hand-to-hand combat. So how could Draupadi? How could she fight them? She couldn't. So at a certain point she gave up, put her hands up, and then Krishna did it. So we have to come to the point and say, Krishna, I cannot do this on my own, but you can do it. That's surrender. When we come to the point and say, Krishna, you can do it. No longer am I fighting it on my own. I can't fight it. I'll lose. I can't control my anger on my own. I can't. You can do it. I surrender. So when we talk about surrender, that's what surrender means. I surrender the fight. I keep losing the battle. I can't do it. I can't do it on my own. Whatever problem you have, now we're talking about forgiveness or anger or resentment, but whatever problem you have, it's the same thing. Krishna, I can't do this on my own. I let go. I give up. I'll let you do it. So, going back to my case, I came to Vancouver at the ripe old age, as I said, of 20, with absolutely no experience organizing, managing, and leading anybody. I didn't lead anybody in school. I was not in charge of anything in school. I had enough trouble just keeping my own act together and keeping out of trouble. And so, but what happened is, in that year, I was in Vancouver like a year or year and a half, and when I came, there were 3 other devotees there, and subsequently one of the devotees left the movement, and 2 others relocated in other temples. And a year and a half later, we had something like 15 or 18 devotees who had joined that temple. It's quite amazing when you think about it. And I think one of the things we can attribute it to was Prabhupada's instruction for us to feel helpless. So what we used to do in that helplessness is say, Krishna, I don't know how to help people become Krishna conscious, but please, can you send them? Can you help me? Can you give me intelligence? Can you guide me? Can you make the arrangements? So that was our mood, and that's what Krishna did. So, Krishna can work through in many ways. My daughter often tells me things which are incredibly scary. What do I mean by that? It's like I'm thinking something wrong, and she'll have no idea what I'm thinking, and she'll just say something, and what she says directly addresses what I'm thinking, and I think, oh my God, Krishna, you really care about me. It's just right through my daughter. You said exactly what I needed to hear, because I'm just battling with something internally, and then my daughter says something, and I'm like, yes, Krishna, that's exactly right. So when we let go and allow Krishna, many things may happen. So part of feeling powerless is, okay, I'm powerless, but at least I can be open for Krishna, for you to do something. I can't fight this. I can't do it on my own. That's the crucial point. So you're saying, oh, I can't forgive. All right, that's it. You can't forgive on your own. So add that to the end. When you say I can't forgive, add I can't forgive on my own. Surrender. Now, it's another really interesting thing about surrender. We're here talking about surrendering our resentment, but the problem is, if we only surrender our resentment, what about the pride? Like I'll surrender the resentment, but if it's not complete surrender, then I'll hold on to the pride. Okay, Krishna, I'm giving up the resentment. And here, on the other hand, there's my pride. I'm holding my pride near my chest, and I'm holding on to my critical nature, and I'm holding on to my lust. And I'm holding on to so many things. So, really, if you look at what surrender means, in the ultimate absolute sense, it doesn't mean surrendering one thing. It means the whole package goes at once. The whole body, everything. It's just you give that to Krishna. That's surrender. And then along with that body, the lust comes, the greed comes, the envy comes, the resentment comes, the bitterness comes. All that goes along when you actually surrender. Say, Krishna, I surrender, I give up. And that's really, when you think about it, that's really what it means to be a devotee. You give the whole, you're giving your whole body, you give the whole package. What do they say? There's a saying, when you sell an elephant, you don't barter or bargain for the elephant, for the rod that controls the elephant. You give that also. So when we surrender to Krishna, we surrender the whole package. It all comes along, and so that's, it's an interesting, it's an actually startling realization, and a very revealing realization, that if we're dealing with a particular, so I'm dealing with this issue, this one particular issue I'm dealing with, and we're focusing on it, but really, if we're focused on surrender, the whole thing comes. Now, what does that mean? Okay, it means I've decided I want to be a devotee of Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. So once we make that decision, that it means so many things go along with that. Right? If I'm a devotee of Krishna, that means I must practice self-discipline, sense control. I must not criticize devotees. I should be generous in heart. I should serve other Vaishnavas. I should glorify them. I should not hold any resentment or anger or bitterness towards any living entity. I should only have compassion. At least within my heart. At least I should practice those things. That would be surrender. That's the whole package. It all goes at once. This is what I do now. This is the whole thing. But we see we don't do that. But if we look at surrender as something extremely positive, that we're actually surrendering our suffering, not really we're giving up anything other than the things that are causing us misery. You can take on another angle, another way of looking at it, which is very positive. And it's at that point when we just go, okay, Krishna, I give up. It's at that point when we feel this tremendous relief in our chest and our heart of this poison that we've been holding on to, and just I can let it go. I can be a devotee. I can now just throw in the whole thing. I'm a devotee. I'm practicing Krishna consciousness. I just throw it all in. Why hold on to the lust, or why hold on to the good? Why go around not appreciating other devotees or other people? Why go around not being gentle and kind? You're a devotee. Why are you holding on to lust in your heart? You're a devotee. You're supposed to give that all up. You've given your body to Krishna. Okay, Krishna, I give it to you. Now use me. Do work through me. Empower me. I can't do it on my own. I'm helpless. Only you can bring me to this level. So that's where we need to come when we're stuck in the I can't. Hare Krishna Arati. Talking about the I can't. So maybe we can call surrender something like sweet surrender. Otherwise, we may have some kind of negative connotation. Let's call it sweet surrender. Sweet surrender. Why is it sweet? Because all the poison we're going to get rid of. We're just going to let go of the poison. Let Krishna come in and say, Krishna, take over. I want to be your devotee. I want to be a sadhu. I want to act properly. I want to practice Krishna consciousness. I want to practice honoring devotees, serving devotees. I want to practice giving up, being forgiving. I want to practice humility. I want to practice kindness. I want to practice tolerance. I want to practice self-discipline. I want to practice purity. All these things. That's what surrender means. So that's very positive. If you look at surrender that way, it sounds a lot better, doesn't it, than the negative. Oh, what am I giving up? I have to give up my. Oh no, I play guitar. If I surrender to Krishna, I have to give up my guitar. That would be the absolute worst possible thing that could ever happen to me. Actually, I played guitar before I was a devotee, and that's how I thought. So God, I played like at least 2 hours, 365 days a year, and a lot of times more than that. I thought, I'm a total guitar addict. How could I become a devotee? Anyway, the devotees engaged me playing the guitar in kirtan, so it was okay. And after like 2 weeks, I was so ecstatic from the kirtan, I didn't even want to play the guitar. I felt it was getting in the way. So I naturally gave it up. But initially, I gave it to Krishna to use. So my point is this positive. Look at it as a positive thing. I'm surrendering, but it's a positive thing because I'm letting go of all these things that I don't want anyway. Just visualize a pot on your head, and in this pot you're carrying lust and greed and envy and passion and lust. You're carrying lust on your head. How does that feel? And it's by osmosis, it's coming down through your body into your heart. The envy is seeping in. The greed is seeping in. The resentment is seeping into the core of your being. The greed is uncontrollable. And you're carrying this around. Why would you want to do that? You'd be crazy. Just take the damn pot off your head. Just drop all that stuff. So you say, yeah, if I could, if it was that easy, I would do it. But the point is to recognize that surrender means that pot's going to go off your head sooner or later. At some point, at least you're taking the step to drop that pot up. So surrender is very positive, and the good qualities there. That's what you're going to act on. So it's sweet surrender. Krishna, I can't do this. You. I surrender to you. Please empower me to fight this battle. Don't you think it'll be easier to fight with Krishna on your side? Don't you think? It's going to be easier? Anyone have doubt? It's going to be easier? Okay. The Dhammahan may have a doubt. Let's listen. Easier said than done. I know from million experiences that when belief is there and faith is there, stuff happens. I wish I was somehow in total surrender all the time. I want to have KC, Krishna conscious qualities. I'm tired of praying and not being listened to. I'm tired of being tired. I want to love and spread love of God. Good stuff. So, we have to look at our surrender. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up. We're gonna talk about beliefs. I really would like to get to know real life successful people who have been in, like me, and changed with KC. I just need to hear more from those kinds of people. I'm thinking it's different from Mahatma who's chosen the path differently. I still have to go to work and make a living. Maybe not, but that is what I'm thinking. Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot here. First, the first principle is that we have to. We must come. We want to come to the realization that it is possible, even if you live in the world. It is possible. We have to have that. Now, I'm going to go back a step here, and we're going to segue from what we've been talking about and what Madan Mohan is saying. We're going to segue into an exercise that we're going to do. It won't take us very long. It's a really good exercise, and it's an exercise on our beliefs in relation to forgiveness. Because Madan Mohan, you talked about beliefs. So, I think key to your situation may be understanding how beliefs work and how we can alter our beliefs and how negative beliefs affect us. So, first, let me define belief in the context I'm going to use it now as certainty, a feeling of certainty about something. That doesn't have to be right. I am certain that. It doesn't mean it's right. It just means that you feel certain about this. I believe they went to the moon. I believe they did not go to the moon. It's a feeling of certainty. I have my reasons to believe they did go. No, I have my reasons to believe they didn't go. A feeling of certainty about something. I believe the Hare Krishna movement is going to save the world. I believe the Hare Krishna movement cannot save the world. You're looking at the same movement. It's a feeling that based on your impressions and experiences, you come up with something that for you is certain. That's a belief. So, what does a belief do? Well, thoughts come from beliefs. If you believe a certain way, then naturally you're going to think congruently with your beliefs. And from your thoughts come your feelings. From your feelings come your actions. So, for example, Srila Prabhupada had faith in Mahaprabhu's prediction that Krishna consciousness could spread all over the world. Not everyone had that faith. He said he believed in that, and he believed in the words of the spiritual master, who said that people in the West would actually take up Krishna consciousness more seriously than in India. Not everyone believed that. Not everyone could understand it. Because Prabhupada believed that, he was able to leave India and come. Now, obviously, if Prabhupada didn't believe that, I'd say obviously, but there's less of a chance he would have done it, because he would have thought, well, it's a waste of time, why should I do it? It's not going to happen. So, the certainty about something creates a consequent action, or the lack of certainty about something creates a consequential action. There's a funny saying. Nothing means anything until you show up. Does anyone remember me saying that before? Did I say that, Uddhava? I think about it. Nothing means anything until you show up. Because when you show up, then you have your beliefs about what happened. Okay, what's going on here? You see two people fighting, or there's a party, or whatever. What's going on here? So you've taken all the data, and then according to your belief systems, well, what's going on? Oh, I'm a Muslim, so what's going on here? Oh, the infidels are having a party. And if I'm a radical Muslim, then I'll look at that as like the filth of the universe. And this is polluting our Muslim. What's going on in America is pollution. It is polluting the world, and that filth is entering the Muslim countries, and we don't want these people. Either they convert, or we don't want them on the planet. If you're a Christian, and you walk in, and there's a party going on, and none of the people are Christians, then from your belief system, these people are on their way straight to hell. One-way ticket. If you're a Hindu, and people are drinking and partying, and then you say, okay, there's going to be reaction, karma for what they're doing. So whatever they're doing, they're going to get an equal and opposite reaction. If you're a nothing, you're just like, hey, we're having a good time, and whatever. So you see how your beliefs affect how you see things. Now, so Madan Mohan, it seems that there might be some part of you that believes that you are especially fallen. You are a unique species called the Madan Mohan species, and there are not a lot of people that are quite as fallen as you. It also seems, from what you said, that when the Madan Mohan species has to work every day, it seems to make it virtually impossible or quite difficult to be Krishna conscious. So I see two beliefs there. One, that in your circumstance, in your job and making a living, kind of undermines your Krishna consciousness. And you feel especially, you'd say, to be politically correct, we'll say you feel a bit challenged, more so than, it seems to you, more so than others, or more so than me, and perhaps many others, in being Krishna conscious. Now, it's okay to eat bagels, but not beagles. Depends who cooked the bagels. Anyway, for those of you who are listening to the audio, there's chat going on, and sometimes the conversation gets sidetracked. Okay, and I'm trying to read while I'm talking, which is not always possible. Okay. No, belief is actually, belief, you're going to see when we do the exercise, belief is fundamental. Everything changes with belief. It totally changes. Now, if you have a belief that you're especially fallen, there's two things that you can do. One, it can defeat you in your Krishna consciousness, because you feel, well, what's the use of trying because I'm especially fallen? And you could also think, because I'm especially fallen, I need to try harder, and I need more mercy. So that belief could actually be empowering. But if you don't find it empowering, you can change the belief, and the belief is, the more fallen you are, the more mercy you get from Lord Chaitanya. What about that belief? That's a pretty positive, that can change. By changing your belief, your attitude can change. We'll say, well, if I'm as fallen as I think, that means I'm open to more mercy. So Lord Chaitanya will be more compassionate upon me. Or, as I said, I need more mercy, I need to try. And if you change your belief about work, that it is possible to be Krishna conscious even in situations which are not ideal, and it is an advantage to become more tolerant and and learn how to be Krishna conscious, it's actually an advantage to be stronger, and you change your belief about it, say it's not actually a disadvantage, it's an advantage, because I need to become stronger to deal with the situation and remain Krishna conscious, that belief can change your attitude about your workplace. And you might even see more opportunities in your work to remain Krishna conscious than you saw. Just like when you're getting angry, if you say, well, my belief now has changed, that for me to see work as a platform for me to be more Krishna conscious. So when I'm challenged by anger now, because I see this as Krishna's mercy sending me these situations to help me become stronger, I can take advantage of it and say, okay, Krishna, now here's an opportunity where normally I'd become angry, and I'm taking this as mercy that you're giving me to make me stronger, to show me how to deal with my anger. So your belief now is changing a little bit, rather from the negative, this is no good and bad, and as to Krishna has put me here for a reason for me to learn. It's a change of belief, which then affects how you think, which then affects your attitude towards the situation. And if you look at Krishna consciousness philosophy and how it works on us, you'll really see fundamentally it's changing our beliefs of situations. Just like we read the Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam will say when something bad is, Prabhupada said, it's an amazing thing Prabhupada said, it's so nice. I hate lying as an attorney. Yeah, well that's another situation. Maybe you shouldn't take those clients in the first place. And Prabhupada say lawyer means liar. Yeah, that's another conversation. But you have control of that. You can deal with that. But I want to tell this story just because. I mean, maybe Krishna's going to inspire you to create a revolution in the industry of law, whatever you call the industry, and bring in some kind of change. I mean, who knows? But anyway, Prabhupada said, sometimes Krishna is giving us mercy and we don't see it. And we think, why isn't Krishna giving us mercy? But he actually is. And sometimes the mercy Krishna gives is to not give mercy, or apparently not give mercy. Like Krishna didn't appear to the gopis sometimes. He disappeared. And that was his mercy because it created a greater need or hankering to be with Krishna. So Prabhupada said that Krishna is always kind and merciful to us, but we don't always see it because sometimes he withholds his mercy because he needs to withhold it because we need to learn something in a certain situation. Or he's not withholding his mercy, he's just giving it in a different way. So in that situation, things are not the way we want them to be. But they need to be that way because Krishna is helping us learn something from it. So, again, if we change the belief, so Bhagavatam is trying to help us change the belief from why all these bad things happen to me, and why isn't Krishna merciful to me, to the belief that no, everything that's happening for me in my efforts to be Krishna conscious is what I need, and Krishna's doing that. And one of the ways he may be doing it is not giving me what I want and giving me the sauce, or giving me the difficulties. Then Prabhupada went on to say something really interesting, and if you remember this, I think it will really help you. Prabhupada said, if Krishna gave you all his mercy at one time, you wouldn't be able to handle it, and you'd become sidetracked. But what does he mean by that? Because we think, well, mercy, that's what we want. We want mercy. That will help us advance. He said, no. He said, when Krishna gives us mercy, and you become advanced in devotional service, what happens when you become advanced? Fame, followers. So these are byproducts of Krishna consciousness. Believe it or not, you look at someone who's very advanced in Krishna consciousness. People adore that person. They fall at his or her feet. They throw money at him. Now, what does everybody want in the world? They want fame, nadanam. They want money, najanam. They want followers, nasundari. They want women. Yeah. You become a big girl, you have all kinds of women offering their bodies to you, prostrating at your feet. Wow. You Hefner can't get that. You get thousands of them. I'm serious, you look at it's just amazing, what it is to be highly advanced, what comes to you. People just show you in tremendous amounts of respect. They'll come and give you $50, $100, $200, $500,000. Here, take this, Maharaj. Do your project. And all this money is coming through your hands. You didn't even work, and money's falling in your hands. Followers are falling in your hands. Prabhupada said, when you're not ready, Krishna won't give that mercy because you can't handle it. So he's giving you what you can handle, or he's taking something away if you can't handle it. So I'm just making the point that as we learn Bhagavatam philosophy, it changes our belief. Oh, now when we see something happening, we could say, my belief is this is all happening for a reason. It's good. So, you don't like lying as attorney. Yes, you'd feel like turning in your clients. I believe it. I feel the same way. So, what, how is this good? What are you supposed to learn from this? And how is a devotee supposed to relate to this situation? Or, Krishna, I don't know what to do. Help me. Give me mercy. I'm praying to you. Give me the intelligence how to deal with this situation. Madame Mohan, I want to tell you a story. You'll like this story. It's about me. Similar, not exactly your exact situation, but similar. So, I had the fortune of living in the holy Dham of Sri Vrindavan for a couple of years, which I think, if I look at my whole life, it's like, that stands out. That really stands out. It's not the best, up there with the best years of my life. And not only did I live in Vrindavan, I got to work with the Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education, which is educational institution for adults. So my schedule, this is my normal schedule. I would go to Mangalartik, I would chant 8 rounds, I would go to my room at 6 o'clock, and I would write and study till 10 a.m. And then I would have breakfast. And then I would prepare for my class that I was going to give and spend another few hours reading and studying. And then I would give my class, which was an hour and a half. And then I would have lunch, and then I would go on a japa walk in Sri Vrindavan. It's a nice place to take a japa walk, and finish my rounds. And then I would come back home, and then usually there would be devotees to talk to, preach to, arti to see, go to the bookstall, a new book to look at and read. So that was my life. Sounds pretty good, right? So, we came back to America, and when we returned to America, we had nothing. No money, no car, no house, no apartment, nothing. And my wife said, well, Madame Mohan said, I froze in time. So, does that mean they can't hear me when I freeze? That the level on the microphone is permanently on, is permanently peaking, which is not good. Okay. I'm frozen on the chat. Oh, there I am. We're way behind time here. Okay. So anyway, have I unfrozen? Oh, can you hear me now or no? Try refreshing. This is a very refreshing talk here. So anyway, so we had nothing, so we had to do something because we weren't able to stay in Vrindavan any longer, and so we thought, well, actually we thought this in India. We thought, well, in India there's so many things you can buy, and they're not expensive, and we can sell them in America. So we were buying jewelry and wholesaling, retailing, doing like that. And because we had nothing, we wanted to raise a family, we thought, well, we should have a house, have a car. Oh yeah, Madame Mohan said he didn't hear me after an hour and a half. Well, I didn't say anything important after that. But I was trying to explain that I had this ideal life, Brahminical lifestyle. And then we moved back to America. And when we moved back to America, we didn't have any money. And we didn't have a place to live or a car. So we had to develop So we started a business, and we had bought some things in India, some jewelry, and we started a business. So we were kind of behind the other devotees. I got married a little later, and so everybody, had the cars, had the apartments, had the houses. So we kind of just dove into it and developed a business, and we worked very, very hard. And then a couple years down the road, I realized that I'm not a Vaishya by nature, and this was really not an ideal situation for me at all. So I found myself in a similar situation, like, what am I doing here? But I realized that if I want to, at that point I said, if I really want to give Krishna consciousness to others, then I have to figure out how to run this business efficiently so it doesn't take up all my time. So one day, this was years after, because I was totally reluctant to just give myself totally to a business, I realized, I went to Krishna in my prayers and said, Krishna, I'm really not good at business. That part of my brain needs more activation. It's kind of dead. Not totally dead, but pretty dead. So I need you to activate it, because I'm not good at this stuff. I don't really know how it all works. I read the books, but it's not in my heart. So I just got down on my knees basically, because I knew I needed to do this if I was going to have the time to spread Krishna consciousness. I needed to make more money in less hours. And right after that happened, mystically, I have a supplier. So one day he sends me boxes and boxes of jewelry that I didn't order, and he said, no, you should sell this. This is going well. I said, I wanted to send it all back. He said, no, if you don't like it, you can send it back, but try it. There's a whole product line that was revolutionized my whole business. That was really funny. It happened right after that. And subsequently, I was just getting ideas and intelligence and energy, and I was learning how to focus more, and actually I was thinking like a Vaishya, like I reincarnated half my brain as a Vaishya, so I got the Vaishya incarnation. And the business was going really well, and it was enabling me to have more time. So I just said, Krishna, I don't know how to do this. You help me. So it sounds like you're in a situation similar, you're in this similar situation, which is it's not ideal for you. So I would say you can let go and just say, Krishna, please help me. In any way that you need help, whatever it is, with anger, or with just having to be a lying lawyer and not being able to deal with it, and whatever it is, how could, maybe you want to start a whole school of lawyers with integrity and show how that's superior. Or maybe you lose all your cases if you're honest. I don't know. Maybe you could show that. I haven't told a lie in 10 years and lost all my cases. Whatever. Krishna will reveal something to you. Now, Madan Mohan says, learning requires intelligence and wisdom. That's learning through your head, but learning through your heart doesn't. And that's really what we want to get to. The learning through the heart. And the learning through the heart comes when you take something and you start living it. So we call this living a life of total forgiveness. When you start living with forgiveness, that's when everything, and you understand everything. If you don't live it, it just remains in your head. And when it remains in our head, then we're just I don't know, I can't do it. Too hard, it doesn't feel right, I don't like it, I'll do it tomorrow, I tried it didn't work, I don't understand it, I have to understand it before I do it, all that stuff. And then we remain stuck. So really we want to go in this mood of surrender. Okay, Krishna, I can't do it, and this is what I know I should do. And if you change your belief to the belief that Krishna can help me deal with my most difficult problems, then everything will change. Because if we're saying we can't, it's likely on some level we have a belief that's saying, no, this is not possible for me, it's not going to work for me, it's not powerful enough. And that holds us back. And belief is fundamental. If you actually, I'll give you an example. This is something I'm going to reveal. One of my secrets as a teacher, and I do this in my seminars. And this, I would like you to do this exercise. And this reveals a lot about how beliefs function in our life. And we're going to have to do the belief exercise next week, but this class will serve as a foundation for that. In my seminars, at least some of them, one of the things that I ask people is, I ask them to write down what excuse they will make if they don't achieve the aim of the seminar or the aim they came to achieve. In this example, if we're talking about a forgiveness seminar, then I would ask them to write down, if at the end of the seminar you don't achieve forgiveness or a sufficient level of forgiveness, what excuse will you tell yourself? So you can all think of this now. You can all think of this now, right? If at the end of my course on forgiveness you don't sufficiently forgive, if not entirely forgive, or practice forgiveness entirely, what excuse will you tell yourself? And we can think of some excuses that you might tell yourself. Well, it was just I need to do it in person, and it's not the right format, and well, Muhammad didn't really address my personal issues because I couldn't talk with him personally, or well, I couldn't attend every week, or there was too much going on in my house, or my forgiveness is just it's too difficult. It's going to take a really long time. I can't do it. Madame Mahan, get me on. Madame Mahan saying I should be on PBS. Yes, if you can get me on PBS, yeah, maybe you can get Wayne Dyer. I'll double up with Wayne Dyer. We'll make a good combo. And if you can arrange that, yeah. I mean, actually, that's one of my goals. I mean, I like to make Wayne Dyer. I like to meet him every time I fly in a plane. I hope Wayne Dyer's on the plane, and I want to talk to him. As I wanted to tell him a few things that are not correct in what he's preaching. But anyway, so then I asked them, and this is really where it gets very interesting. So you have your reason. What was my excuse? Well, I listed these reasons. There could be so many reasons. I wasn't ready yet. Well, I just tuned in to hear Muhammad. I just wanted to see how he presents forgiveness. Or I just wanted to, I thought it'd be intellectually interesting. We have all the reasons. That would be some of the excuses you might tell yourself. Then the interesting part is, or the more profound part is, I say, what's the belief behind the excuse? What's the belief behind the excuse? And most devotees don't think in terms of beliefs. No, it's just an excuse. No. Whenever there's a thought, there's a belief behind it. So then we go one stage deeper. So, well, what's the belief behind the excuse? What am I believing? What do I believe that would cause me to think that way? What do I believe that would cause me to act that way? Is that an interesting thought? I could give you an example. Let's say you see somebody doing something in Krishna consciousness, but you don't. They're not very meticulous about it, or they're not very regulated about it, or they're not very clean about it. And then you could say, what would someone have to believe to not be so meticulous? Maybe they believe, well, that the real thing is bhakti and it's not important. Or maybe they believe, who knows what they believe, they'd have to believe something to act that way. So what would you believe? Once you isolate your excuse, what would you believe? If you don't want to do it now or can't do it now because it's too deep, then you can jot this exercise down. It's really good. It gets even better. I'm not finished. So what's the belief behind the excuse? Okay, well, if I don't forgive, the reason is I've been hurt so bad. I've been hurt so bad that I just can't forgive. Okay, so what's the belief? The belief is, if you're hurt really bad, you can't forgive. Wouldn't that be the belief behind that excuse? Does that make sense to everyone? The belief, I've been hurt so bad, you don't know how bad I've been hurt. I've been hurt so bad I just can't forgive. Okay, the belief there is you can't forgive people who hurt you really bad. There's a threshold. If it's over 5 on the threshold, that's it. You can't forgive. That's a belief. Okay. You can't forgive people who hurt you to this degree. So then, or the belief could be behind it, well, I don't believe that you can achieve these things so quickly. Whatever. So then, I ask him a very powerful question after this. I say, does that belief come up in other areas of your life? Write this down. This is going to spin your world around tonight. Does that belief come up in other areas of your life? The one belief that you're applying to the excuse, what's the belief behind the excuse? Now, does that belief apply to things other than forgiveness? Well, my belief is things, you have to take them slowly, take them gradually, one by one. Well, I was just coming here to check it out, I wasn't really committing. What's the belief? Well, the belief is I don't really commit until I check things out. I like to look at things without committing. So I asked the devotees in the class, do you see these beliefs that were behind your excuses for not forgiving coming up in other areas of your life? And what do you think? They discovered, yeah, I have those beliefs are universal. Those beliefs underline everything I do, which shocked them to the hellish planets and back. And therefore, I make a point to them, it's not just about your forgiveness. It's about an entire operating paradigm of beliefs underlying your resentment, your unwillingness. It's not about just your unwillingness to forgive. It's the whole underlying paradigm of belief, of one or more beliefs that are affecting you in other areas of your life. Well, do you take everything kind of gradually, slowly? Yeah. Do you like to check things out? You slow to commit? Yeah. So you're applying that to forgiveness now, and then you're coming and saying, well, I can't forgive. You can't forgive in 10 lessons. You need to go to a seminar for a week and read, and go into therapy for 3 years. And so, anyway, I want to leave you with that thought, those 3 questions. What excuse will you tell yourself if you don't forgive at the end of this, at the end of the shows that we do? What's the belief behind it, and does that belief come up in other areas of your life? Leaving you with that, next week, and it's on my website, we're going to do an exercise, but I'd rather you don't get it from my website yet because I want to explain it to you. We're going to do an exercise, and we're going to enable you to look at your beliefs about forgiveness, and then you'll be able to isolate certain beliefs that you will see are preventing you from forgiving, and then we're going to help you change those beliefs into beliefs that will help you forgive. Does that sound good? Is that good or good? Well, thank you for listening. I've gone over time, and I'm going to see you next week right here, Krishna.com. Please come back because it's going to be very revealing to you to uncover your beliefs in regards to resentment. Thank you, Hare Krishna. We'll see you next week.